Alrighty, so in this video we are going to talk about the fgets function, and basically this is another function for working with strings, okay? So similarly to the pair that we've worked with in the previous video called the putTest function and the fputTest function, we just explained them right now, we are going to talk about and show you some similarity between the getTest function and the fgets. So probably you remember the getTest function that we worked with in the strings section, the getS function, and this function basically was an abbreviation for getString. So basically what the getS function did is simply reading, or better say getting, a string from the user, from the console application, right? Simply reading a string from the console and storing it in some variable so we could use it in our program. And the fgets function is actually very similar to getS. It also gets a string, but that doesn't necessarily have to be from the console, but rather the fgets function can read a string from a file get string. That's the reason why it's called fgets. Simply get a string from a file. Are we clear so far? And now let's talk about the fgets syntax. So the fgets expects to get, as its first argument, the string name. It is the actual string where we are going to place the string from the file we are about to read. In the second argument, we should specify what is the maximum size of the string we are going to read from the file. So basically it's just kind of a limiter to the number of characters we are going to read. We don't want to read more than we can actually store inside different variables, right? We have specific size for this. And lastly, since we are talking about getting strings from a file, we should also specify from what file we are going to get these strings. So we should specify here probably the fp, right, which is a file pointer that we created to point to our file basically using the fopen function. Awesome. So let's talk about how it works in practice. In this example, I created an array of characters, my string of size 10. I created some count variable that will assist us in printing some nice messages to the screen to demonstrate how the process works. And here we have fp, a pointer to file, fp fopen, we are opening some file for reading. Let me show you this file. Here it is. This is the file. Hey man, this is Vlad from AlphaTech. Do you love the course so far? That's it. And then we ask if fp does not equal to null, meaning the file was successfully opened. Let's do the following thing. Let's use the fgets function as part of some while loop. And on every iteration, what we are going to do is basically to read 10 characters from fp, where fp points to, and store them inside my string. Just remember that the last character should be basically also for the \0 at the end of the string. You do remember that, right? So let's run this program and see what happens. So click on the local Windows debugger, where is the file itself? Okay, here is the file, and here is the result, and I want us to make a little comparison. So string number 1 read, hey man, okay, we can see that this line is less than 10 characters, so there is no problem. And also we can see that we have here a \n printing a new line, okay? Good. So actually, if we take a closer look, we will see that hey man ends with the \n with a new line right here. And if we read it, we can see that there was a \n right here, and also there was additional \n right here. So what's going on? What is happening here? Okay, we can see that for the second time in our iteration, we read string number 2, we read this is V. So it was like 4 characters, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the 10th character was basically for what? For the \0. So this was like 9 characters plus the \0 stored inside my string. Okay? Awesome. And here we see that we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that's it. So what's going on? Here is another one. Basically, here was probably also the space. And after that, the \0. But lastly, one thing that I want you to understand is that the fgets function is used a little bit differently than the gets in terms of that, first of all, you read a string from the file until it reaches the first \n. So we didn't continue here to read like any parts of the second line, although we had like 7 characters, including the \n, it's 8 characters, we didn't read the t, for example. So the fgets function reads a string from a file until it reaches the first \n. And if there is a \n character, then it keeps it and just adds a \0 to the end. Okay, so basically just keeping the \n and adding the \0 to the end of the string without making any replacements. Or how also the fgets function works, it reads until we reach some limit specified here in this argument. Okay, so whether we read until we reach some \n or the total number of characters, including the \0 that should be also specified. And if both of the specified conditions, not till the \n and not till this limiter, are not satisfied, then the fgets function will simply read the whole string up until the end of the file. And that's opposed to the gets function. Basically, the gets function did replace different \n with \0s. Here we simply add a \0 to the end of the \n in case that we have this type of reading. So finally, the fgets function returns null if the operation of the reading was not successful. So there may be also times that the operation of reading will return null when the operation was not successful. Then in this case, maybe the while will not iterate anymore, and it will indicate that something went wrong. And also, that's a good practice for you to catch these kind of errors. So finally, to summarize, both putS and getS and their associated pairs, fputS and fgets, is just basically adding this prefix for working with files and specifying a little bit different functionality for different cases. But the main principle is the same for working with strings and files, and basically putting strings to a file, getting string from a file based on some rules that I've just specified. So you can also write down these rules, make some notes, and also a very important part is that you will practice on your own, because only like that you will understand and you will have different questions that can be answered, and like this you will improve and become a better programmer. So before we move on, I just want to let you know, guys, that now you are at a totally new level, because you now know an additional important function for working not only with the console, but also you know how to work with files, okay? You know various 6 functions you've been introduced in the last few videos. You know how to work with files, working with characters, working with different placeholders and files, working with strings, and so on and so forth. So I think you can see how it will become handy, and if not, we are going also probably in the next video to see additional examples and exercises. So yeah, Thank you guys for watching, keep on practicing, I will see you in the next videos.